Without getting out of your seats, take the next few seconds and look for anything that's red. Now, I know I've chosen the easiest color given this event, but don't just glance, really look. Isn't it curious how our minds focus on something and we miss other things that are right in front of us? Because now, keeping that in mind, can you tell me how much yellow you saw? It's curious how our minds focus on something and we miss other things right in front of us. It's not just that we miss things, it's that our perception shapes our entire reality. Attention can sharpen our sight, but it can also narrow our vision. And sometimes what we think we know is only a sliver of the truth. Let me tell you something about myself. I have always loved color. As a child, when someone asked my favorite color, I'd say a rainbow because I couldn't choose just one. In the US, I grew up in the era of Care Bears, cartoon bears of every color and temperament that lived around rainbows. And I was fascinated by art and science and philosophy and photography and the natural world. So fascinated that in fifth grade, I was determined to create a new mathematical system where each number was a color and the answer to any equation would be the result of any combination. Now, as hard as I tried, it didn't work, but the idea stayed with me. Color isn't just about aesthetics, though. It's a metaphor for how we see and sometimes fail to see the world. It's about perception, how shifting our focus can expand our vision and even change the way we connect. One September, while I was living in Istanbul, there was a moment that opened my eyes. I kept seeing piles of this unfamiliar green fruit everywhere. What looked like an oversized key lime, maybe even picked a bit early. They were everywhere. Corner shops and street carts and even cafes where I saw large bowls of them for customers to grab, like an apple or banana. But I couldn't make sense of it. Everyone here must really love to snack on limes, I thought, like with a passion. Curiosity got the best of me, though, and so I bought one. What I thought was a hard, unripe, oversized key lime turned out to be something quite different. A green mandarin, mandolina in Turkish. Instead of the elongated oval shape of a lemon or lime with pointy ends, it had the rounder, squattier shape of, you guessed it, a mandarin. Instead of the firmness of a lime, the fruit had a soft give to it, and the rind practically fell away in my hands. What it revealed was a surprise, a lesson, a shift in my perspective. Inside were gorgeous sections of tangerine-colored fruit. I took a bite. It was delicious in every way. I laughed because it reminded me of the cover of the book Freakonomics, a green apple cut open to reveal a section of orange inside, something appearing one way and turning out to be something else entirely. Everything I thought I knew was wrong. I remember thinking that this strange green fruit was just an oversized lime. But it didn't fit into my mental framework of how things were supposed to be. My mind made quick judgments. Other characteristics like size, shape, availability, and use didn't fit into any pattern I knew or could predict. And so I thought it was a mistake, or at the very least, something odd. Before that moment, I had only known orange mandarins. I had no idea green mandolinas existed. But as I slowed down and had a genuine experience with this fruit, I began to realize that the fruit wasn't wrong. It was my perception and understanding that needed to change. The moment I stopped and questioned my assumptions, I began to see it in a new light. That moment wasn't just about a fruit. It was a reminder of how liberating and even delightful it can be to break free from our own perspective. Just as light can reveal hidden colors, challenging our assumptions can reveal hidden truths we didn't know existed. Daniel Kahneman wrote about two systems of thinking. My fast brain, system 1, saw a lime, but it took my slow system 2 brain, buying, peeling, tasting, to correct the error. Only intentional experience could reshape my mental map. And this wasn't just a one-time event. As someone who's lived around the world, I've had moments like this again and again and again, most of them just as delightful. The green mandolina got me thinking about how our brains interpret what we see and reminded me of something I started writing many years ago about light. So to really understand how perception works, we need to look at the science of light itself. What we call light is just a slice of something far greater, a range of energy waves, some of which we can see and some of which we can't. We only see a sliver of the full electromagnetic spectrum, red to violet, or visible light. Beyond that are invisible realms, ultraviolet, infrared, X-rays, and so much more. They're there, even if we can't see them. The same, I think, is true of people. We perceive what's visible, but the fullness of a person, a culture, or a story often lies in the wavelengths we've never been taught to see, that are just waiting to be discovered. When I speak about color, I mean both literally and metaphorically. The color and appearance of someone are some of the first things we notice and sometimes judge. But color can also symbolize any quality we quickly categorize: personality, culture, tradition, belief. Remember the red we searched for earlier? Let's look at this red balloon. What if I told you it's red because it doesn't contain red? Light hits it and every other color is absorbed except red, which is reflected back to us. The red we see isn't what's in the balloon, it's what the balloon gives off. Additionally, our perception of red depends on so many things: the light source, the background, presentation, our culture, even our mood. What we see isn't the whole truth, it's a reflection. And then there are creatures like birds, butterflies, and the mantis shrimp here that see colors and sections of the spectrum we can't even imagine. They live in a rainbow we'll never witness. And if we're anything like light, how much of the world, of ourselves, and of others are we missing? I know a little about this because I've had the great privilege of living on multiple continents and working with people from dozens of countries. I've lived in Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, and Hindu majority communities. I've been perceived as scandalous in one culture and pious in another for the same exact behavior. I've lived in places that seemed blind to the colors inside of me. It's been humbling and honestly sometimes frustrating, but it's made me pause and ask, what am I blind to in others? That question has changed the way I move in the world. It has transformed my vision. What I've learned is this: We see each other through filters, biases, narratives, traditions, expectations. The world and its people are kaleidoscopically complex and beautiful in all their colors and forms. But take away some of those filters, and beneath the surface, we are far more alike than we are different. Our minds, like our eyes, notice what we expect and miss what we don't. What matters most is often just beyond our perception. But we don't have to live in that narrow bandwidth. Now, we may not have the eyes of a mantis shrimp, but we can expand our vision. We can learn to pause, question, and reflect. That green mandolina didn't change. I did. Our minds don't just record reality, they interpret it. And the world doesn't always need adjusting. Sometimes our lens does. When we begin to peel back layers of assumption, when we look beyond appearances and open our eyes to the colors that live in all of us, we can start to truly witness each other the way that light has been modeling for us all along. Like light refracted through a prism, real, meaningful experience can shift our perspective and reveal something more vibrant than we imagined, a fuller spectrum of humanity, or as I like to call it, Hue-manity. What assumptions are you ready to peel away? What colors have been hiding just beyond the edges of your vision? What might come into focus if you let go of certainty or fear, even for a moment? Light doesn't just illuminate, it reveals. So the next time you encounter someone you call a friend, a loved one, an enemy, or even when you meet your own gaze in the mirror, pause. Look again. You might just discover a richer, deeper humanity in them all. Thank you.